Incredible little girl and her dog expose hidden truth with 5 amazing words at police station. Lily felt her heart race as she stood outside the police station, her tiny frame dwarfed by the towering building. She didn't belong there. What could an 8-year-old girl do against an entire police department? Yet, the weight of her mission felt heavier than the world on her small shoulders. Mr. Thompson, her beloved neighbor, was being accused of stealing the community garden statue, something she knew he would never do. But fear clawed at her, whispering doubts. What if no one believed her? What if she was wrong? As the sun warmed her back, glancing at Max, who squirmed excitedly at her feet, she took a breath, steeling herself. The days leading to this moment had been a roller coaster of emotions. She had heard snippets of conversations between adults, the worried murmurs and furtive glances. How could Mr. Thompson do this, they asked. But Lily knew him better than that. He had helped her with her bike and shared stories from his days in Vietnam, stories filled with bravery and honor. For him to steal? The thought made her stomach twist in knots, filling her with a sense of urgency. The adults trusted each other without recognizing the cracks in their perceptions, while Lily felt charged with a truth only she could uncover. Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Her heart drummed in her chest as she walked inside, the smells of coffee and polished wood mingling in the air. Officers buzzed around her, their serious faces locked in conversations. Would anyone listen to a mere girl? As she approached the desk, Max's tail wagged in rhythmic agreement, though Lily's hands felt clammy against her sides. Excuse me. Her voice trembled, echoing off the tiled walls. But would it be loud enough? Mr. Thompson is innocent. Believe me. The words came tumbling out before she could second-guess herself. Gasps filled the room. For a fleeting moment, their eyes flickered toward her, laden with a mixture of disbelief, curiosity, and amusement. Had she made a mistake? What if they laughed? But beneath that fear lay a fierce determination to protect someone she loved, even in the face of overwhelming doubt. Each officer's measured response cut her deeper than she expected. Chills crept down her spine as uncertainty wrapped around her throat like a noose. A mix of frustration and desperation cooled her resolve. What if this right path led to nullity? Who was she to challenge adults, trained to uphold the law? Yet the pulse of injustice amidst her tiny community urged her to stand firm. All of a sudden, a figure emerged from the back. The chief, a tall, stern-looking man with a furrowed brow, approached her. She could hardly breathe, her mind racing. What would he say? Would he dismiss her just like the others? The tension felt thick, oppressive. When her gaze met his, she felt a flicker of understanding spark in her chest. Something larger than her words loomed just outside her grasp, a deeper betrayal lurking in the shadows. Would she, a small girl with a big heart and her scruffy dog by her side, be able to pull back the curtain on whatever secret stretched far beyond her initial confrontation? As Lily wrestled with that question, she sensed, deep within, that the most daunting part of this journey was still yet to come. Lily felt the weight of the chief's gaze, his stern expression challenging her guts. She fought the urge to sink into the floor, to let her smallness swallow her. But in that moment, a deeper resolve ignited. What had she learned from Mr. Thompson, from those bike rides and war stories? Courage wasn't about age or size, it was about facing fears head-on, no matter how intimidating the situation seemed. Why do you believe he is innocent? The chief's voice was commanding, slicing through the noise of the station. The question hung in the air, a challenge for her to articulate her faith in Mr. Thompson not just as her neighbor, but as a fundamental part of her understanding of right and wrong. She licked her lips, finding the words amid the swirling chaos of her thoughts. He has always been kind. He helped me with my bike even when I fell. It doesn't fit him taking something that was meant to bring joy to everyone. It's just not who he is. Her cheeks flushed with the intensity of her conviction, and she caught a glimpse of surprise in the officers surrounding her. What do you know about the statue? The chief pressed, his tone softening slightly. She sensed a crack in the armor, and she rushed to seize it, her heart racing as she dove into her story. The statue was a gift from Mr. Thompson. He told me all about it, how it took years to look just right, how he planted flowers around it to make it special. Each detail felt like a brushstroke painting the portrait of his innocence. He wouldn't just take it away. I believe it was stolen. The emphasis on stolen rang with the clarity of a bell, asserting a truth as strong as any evidence. What are you suggesting? The chief leaned in, intrigued by the leap from defending Mr. Thompson to identifying a potential criminal act. Lily felt emboldened. I think it was someone who wanted to hurt him, someone who didn't want us to know the truth. He helped people like my mom when we were struggling. He wouldn't hurt anyone. The words rushed forth, building a cobweb of connections she had to keep going or risk losing the momentum. In the faces of the officers, she searched for understanding, realizing that she was describing not just actions but values. Would they recognize the courage Mr. Thompson embodied? A child can only voice what is visible. Her heart pulsed with the aching need for them to feel it too. The chief glanced at Max, who sat quietly beside her, as if understanding the gravity of the moment. We'll look into your claims, but understand, this isn't child's play. If you're wrong, the consequences can be serious. Understanding flooded Lily with equal parts dread and determination. She could feel her tiny world expanding, each breath filling her with a sense of purpose. I know it's not play. But sometimes, the truth doesn't come from play, it comes from believing in what's right, especially when it's hard. The room fell silent. Officers exchanged glances, their expressions shifting, contemplating the depth of the little girl standing before them. Her assertion echoed far beyond her stature. She had stepped into a space that usually intimidated adults, and yet she belonged there just as much, her voice rising from a heat of conviction. As the chief turned to motion toward the patrolman, Lily's pulse quickened. Could this moment pivot the tide for Mr. Thompson? Would they actually take her seriously? Uncertainty surged, but within that uncertainty lay a tiny flicker of hope. Wait! She said suddenly, gripping Max's collar as fresh inspiration coursed through her. I can find the real thief. I have more evidence, I just need to think. Can I talk to you all later? Lily could already feel the threads of something larger weaving through her determination, a challenge igniting within her soul. This was only the beginning, a doorway into a world of complexities she had yet to understand. The pursuit of the truth was transforming her evidently, something had awakened within that she hadn't anticipated. With the chief nodding, the air thick with unspoken possibilities, she felt the first stirrings of a nascent confidence. Tomorrow would be pivotal, rife with potential. What tides awaited her in the realization of her own power? As dawn crept through the small window of her bedroom, Lily awoke with a jolt. Dreams of bold adventures with Mr. Thompson in mystical lands lingered at the edges of her consciousness, urging her to rise. Today was the day she would put her plan into action, the day she would chase down the lead that ignited her courage the night before. A flurry of determination washed over her as she dressed rapidly, pulling on her sneakers and a well-loved t-shirt. Each piece of clothing felt like armor against the doubts swirling in her mind. She could sense a quiet urgency within her, a challenge nested in the pit of her stomach. Would the police take her seriously? Would she even find a way to uncover the truth? After breakfast, she flipped open her notebook to a blank page. She scribbled "evidence" at the top, highlighting it with a loud swoosh of her pen. Each line beneath it contained her thoughts like little strands of DNA woven into an intricate web: ideas, observations, possible leads. This was the beginning of her investigation, her pursuit of justice for Mr. Thompson. "Max," she called, her voice laced with excitement. Her dog bounded into the room, tail wagging furiously. There was no better partner for her quest. As they headed out, a sense of purpose propelled her forward, not just for her neighbor, but for herself, too. She was beginning to realize that the passion to uncover the truth was morphing into something deeper. It was shaping her identity. The morning briskness did wonders as they walked to Mr. Thompson's bungalow, her feet pounding the pavement with newfound energy. The neighborhood felt different. The trees seemed taller, their branches stretching toward the sky, while the familiar scents brought back memories from simpler times. Yet today, she looked closely, keenly aware of every shadow, every alley, every nook that could lead her closer to the truth. Arriving at Mr. Thompson's house, Lily inspected the area around his yard meticulously, noting the flowers he had planted that still clung to life. It was a stark contrast to the pain of his absence. With her heart thumping behind her ribs, she knocked softly on his front door, though the familiar knots of anxiety twisted her stomach. Could someone have seen something? Turning away, Lily kicked at a stray pebble, her frustration bubbling up. She couldn't abandon the hope she had ignited. "Max, let's south go to the park," she decided. Maybe she could find someone who had witnessed the statue's disappearance. The park was alive with the chatter of children playing and adults chatting, but something felt heavy in the air. During her bike rides, she felt the thrill of windswept freedom. Today, however, was different. The weight of her task pressed down like a stone. She wandered toward the playground, eyes peeled for familiar faces or stragglers. Suddenly, a flicker of color caught her attention. A girl about her age, drawing on a sidewalk with chalk, was outlining what appeared to be a design of the very statue. Hope surged within her. "Did you see what happened to the statue?" Lily approached, her voice unwavering despite the tremor of doubt within. The girl looked up, wide-eyed. "I saw someone acting weird near it the other day." With a rush of excitement, Lily leaned closer, urging the girl to share every detail. As she listened, clues began to piece together, each disclosure carrying the potential of hope. Time slipped by unnoticed as she gathered information from other children, linking their fragments, stacking each revelation like a tower. Each new lead expanded her understanding of the world surrounding her, a textbook of maturity unfolding before her anxious heart. No longer was she just the small girl trying to protect the kind man next door. She was assuming a mantle of responsibility that felt foreign yet strangely empowering. Returning home that evening, she felt a substantial shift within, a cathartic breaking of barriers she had never thought possible. Here, molded by adversity and the challenge of truth, she was beginning to glimpse the contours of her emerging self. "Tomorrow, I'll show them," she whispered to Max, who seemed to nod in agreement. A new day awaited her, fraught with uncertainty but resonating with an undeniable promise. The seeds of her awakening had firmly taken root, and now it felt as if she stood on the precipice of something larger than she could imagine. As she lay down to sleep, a single question gripped her thoughts: who would stand in her way? Tomorrow, fate would bring her closer to the answers she sought, but it would also require her to confront some unspoken truths that loomed over her fragile yet determined pursuit. Lily woke the next morning with a renewed sense of purpose. She had spent the night contemplating the girl at the park, her cryptic hints swirling in Lily's mind like a complex puzzle waiting to be solved. Today would not be just another day, it was a pivotal moment where her investigation could either falter or take flight. After a quick breakfast, she tore a page from her notebook and titled it "Questions for the Police." The weight of her task lingered in the air, mingling with the scent of coffee wafting through the kitchen. She scrawled rapid-fire inquiries, ranging from the whereabouts of the statue to any leads on suspicious individuals reported in the area. With each question, her confidence grew, forging a stronger sense of agency within her. "Max, today's the day," she declared as she slipped into her sneakers. The dog, as always, seemed to sense the gravity of the moment, his tail thumping against the floor as he followed her commands. The morning sun beamed through the window, illuminating their path as if guiding them toward destiny. Twists and turns led them into the heart of town, a place buzzing with activity but simultaneously oppressive with reality. The police station loomed ahead, stark and imposing. As she stepped onto the pavement leading up to the entrance, every brave step felt like a test of her resolve. What if they laughed at her? What if her assumptions fell flat? Yet, deep down, she knew avoiding the truth was not an option. "Okay, let us do this," she said, her voice trembling slightly as she pushed open the glass door. The station felt cold inside, sterile and formal, with officers moving like clockwork. Her heart raced, a drum echoing in her ears. "Excuse me," she called out, her voice catching the attention of an officer at the front desk. He turned, eyebrows raised in surprise at the sight of a girl no older than 12, standing resolutely with her dog beside her. "What can I help you with?" he asked, bemused. Lily steadied her breathing, summoning every ounce of courage she had mustered in the last few days. "I want to report something about the statue, Mr. Thompson's statue. I think I know something important." The officer studied her for a moment, his expression softening. "All right, young lady, why don't you take a seat and tell me what you've got?" With meticulous detail, she recounted everything: the girl with the chalk, the strange behavior, and the whispers among kids in the park. Each word resonated with her growing sense of purpose. She watched as surprise flickered across the officer's face, a prompt acknowledgement that something in her account was credible. As she spoke, a thought echoed in her mind: she was no longer just a witness to a wrong, she was becoming an advocate for justice. This realization infused her with authority, transforming her nervousness into a fervent desire to be heard. She was uncovering her voice as much as she was revealing the mysteries at play. "Do you think this will help?" she asked when she finished. The uncertainty gnawed at her, and she bit her lip, fighting for reassurance. The officer leaned in, his tone serious yet encouraging. "It could very well lead us in the right direction. You've done a great job, seriously. We'll follow up on this." Encouraged, Lily's heart soared. As she and Max left the station, she felt a rush of empowerment flood through her veins. She wasn't the same girl who had wandered aimlessly in search of answers, she had grown into a catalyst for change. The path ahead still bristled with uncertainty, but her resolve was clearer now. Later that evening, she marveled at her progress while jotting down reflections in her notebook. The realization struck her that she had unlocked a hidden talent within herself: the ability to investigate, to communicate, and to confront authority. But as she detailed her thoughts, a shadow of doubt lingered, emerging from the depths of her mind. Was she prepared for any backlash? Who might feel threatened by her revelations? Tomorrow held the potential for more discoveries, both external and internal. The questions that swirled around her ambitions were beckoning for resolution. She was about to dive deeper into a world that had shadows of intrigue lurking just beneath the surface, and she had to be ready for whatever confrontation awaited her. A small shiver of excitement mixed with apprehension coursed through her as she closed her notebook. What challenges would her newfound determination draw her into? And would she be ready to face them head-on? As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows over the neighborhood, Lily lay wide awake in her bed. Her heart pulsed with anticipation and nervous energy, a cocktail of emotions simmering just beneath the surface. The encounter at the police station replayed in her mind like a vivid movie, every detail clear, every emotion acute. Could she really make a difference? Determined to push through the lingering doubts, she flipped open her notebook again. The crisp page welcomed her thoughts as if urging her to fill it with the strategies of her next move. What if the police found something, but it didn't lead anywhere significant? What if she woke up tomorrow and realized none of it mattered? No, she couldn't dwell on those thoughts. She had to keep moving, keep diving deeper into her investigation. Lily sat up, the resolve settling over her like an invisible armor. Tomorrow was a new day, but tonight, she decided to work. She began mapping out potential leads on the chalk girl and her connection to the statue. What she knew already felt thin, like a single thread in a vast tapestry of secrets yet to be unveiled. Who might know more? She considered her classmates, neighbors, and even acquaintances at the park. Gathering unfiltered information relied on her ability to connect the dots, to interview as subtly as she could. With each revelation she penned down, she felt less like a child playing a game of pretend and more like a detective. More importantly, she was realizing a side of herself far removed from the shy girl who often felt out of place. Confidence coursed through her, amplifying with the thought that soon she might confront figures in her mind, both allies and perhaps antagonists. Yet, the idea of confrontation was daunting. Each name she wrote down sparked an inner dialogue laden with doubt. What if they shrugged her off? What if they laughed at her naive pursuits? As that worry surfaced, Lily shook her head. She was not approaching them as a nominal bystander, she was armed with information truths that mattered. Taking a deep breath, she closed her eyes, envisioning each interaction unfolding, how she might guide the conversations. The dog at her feet sighed, and she reached down to pat his soft fur. "You think I'm on the right track, Max?" He simply blinked, a knowing gaze meeting hers, the kind only a devoted companion could offer. Sleep didn't come easily as her thoughts danced around what lay ahead. The park would be a good starting point. It was where her instincts had first stirred, where whispers lingered like forgotten secrets. After all, she thought, it was in the subtle exchanges, those fleeting moments overheard between friends, that often yielded the most significant insights. Tomorrow, she planned to visit the park early, before the sun fully broke and the adults encroached on the children's sanctuary. Lily's heart raced at the thought, determination brewing within her. Morning came silently, the light sneaking in around the curtains. It beckoned her with a song of new beginnings. Once again, she clipped the leash onto Max and felt the world expand around them as they walked. The crisp air filled her lungs and ground her thoughts, dusting off the uncertainties clinging stubbornly to her. Arriving at the park, she took a moment to survey the area, her eyes darting from groups of kids to the benches where their parents chatted. Closely, she watched for familiar faces, clues in expressions, anything that might indicate an unwillingness to share what they knew. Tentatively, she approached a cluster of her classmates, laughter spilling out like music. "Hey, mind if I join?" she called out, her voice steady despite the rippling butterflies in her stomach. They turned, uncertainty reflected in their eyes mixed with surprise. A flurry of chatter erupted amongst them, as she realized they hadn't quite anticipated her presence. But as she settled in, determination hardened her resolve. Yet even as she engaged them, she felt the specter of her earlier doubts creeping back. What if they didn't take her seriously? Lily steeled herself as she navigated the awkward terrain of conversation. "Have you heard anything about strange happenings at the park? Or that statue Mr. Thompson's? There's something off, isn't there?" The initial hesitation in their expressions shifted to mild curiosity. But then, the boy who smirked, Taylor, interrupted her. "You think you know something we don't?" he challenged, biting back laughter. There it was, the moment of truth. Caught between excitement and the risk of public scorn, her heart thumped aggressively against her ribs. The time had come to face the words that could either empower her or unravel her investigation. Lily felt an electric jolt course through her as Taylor's words hung in the air, thick with derision. She had spent the entire night steeling herself for moments like this, but now that it was here, a mix of panic and resolve battled within her. What would it take to command respect in this moment? "Actually," she said, her voice unexpectedly firm, "I think I do." The laughter that had momentarily danced around them froze. All eyes turned to her, their features morphing from skepticism to a cautious interest. This was it, she had to hold her ground. "What do you mean?" Another classmate chimed in, fueling the tension even further. Lily's mind raced, strategizing the best approach. It was time to drop seeds of her findings, to draw them in with intrigue, or risk being thrust back into the shadows she was so eager to escape. There was a split second where she toyed with embellishing the truth, but honesty was far more powerful than any fabricated tale. There's been this chalk girl. She paused to collect her thoughts, references tumbling through her mind, a missing girl, something about her showing up at the park, around that statue. Questions flew back at her, a volley of curiosity and disbelief. Some kids exchanged confused looks, others leaned closer, drawn by the idea of a mystery unfolding right in front of them. "Why would you care?" Taylor asked, attempting to sound indifferent but failing to hide the flicker of interest in his eyes. "Because it matters," Lily replied, a newfound determination surfacing. "What if they found her? What if she needed help? It's not just a game to me, it's real." The conversation wove in and out, each exchange gaining momentum. Slowly, she found her footing. More names surfaced: Clara, Zoe, Alex. Their laughter shifted to whispers, and she caught fragments of conversations about late-night gossip, shared experiences, and growing concerns over strange happenings in the park. Names linked to secrets and half-formed stories came tumbling into her lap like loose change forgotten in a pocket. She shifted gears, implying that she would take it seriously if they would. "So if anyone hears something, even the smallest detail, could you let me know? We all live here, we should want to protect our neighborhood." The collective nodding and murmurs of agreement offered her a brief sense of triumph. Try as she might, she couldn't hold back the smile creeping onto her face. But the battle was far from won, a faint shadow of doubt still loomed. "Maybe you should just let the cops handle it," Taylor said, his tone less mocking this time, as if he were weighing her conviction against the tide of indifference he once portrayed. "You think I want to? They didn't take me seriously." Her chest tightened, she had to tread carefully. "I just want to know what's really going on." The group descended into a state of unresolved deliberation, measuring her sincerity against their initial skepticism. For a fleeting moment, the space burst with potential, teetering on the brink of a collective adventure, and Lily couldn't allow it to fade. "Let me talk to the parents or Mr. Thompson," she proposed, eager to solidify her initiative. "There must be something they're not saying. We can ask the questions that matter." The younger students shared uncertain glances, but slowly, they began to verbally band around her idea. They felt it, too, a crackling energy hanging in the air, fostering an unexpected camaraderie. Together, they possessed hidden strengths that could amalgamate into an alliance, a venturesome band of unlikely detectives. As the laughter resumed, albeit transformed with newfound purpose, Lily felt the weight of her personal doubts dissipate slightly. Perhaps she was closer to carving a place for herself than she had imagined. But just then, she felt an unwelcoming presence looming nearby. Assured that no one else was paying attention, she glanced toward the edge of the park where an older man with a familiar ill-tempered expression lingered, eyes fixated on what appeared to be her crowd. Something about him sent a chill skimming down her spine, a nagging feeling that lingered, silently questioning her presence here. "Guys, I think we might have to postpone." Before she could finish, the man stepped toward them, marching with purpose. The excitement ebbed, replaced with tension as his deep voice cut through the air. "Are you kids discussing something you shouldn't be?" Lily's heart raced, realizing that, unbeknownst to them, they might have attracted unwanted attention or worse, provoked a powerful adversary. What repercussions would this confrontation bring for her and the burgeoning investigation ahead? Lily's stomach twisted, and a knot of anxiety tightened in her throat as she faced the man. His steady gaze bore into her, somehow sapping the newfound confidence she had just begun to nurture. It was as if he fed on her apprehension, bolstering his position. But she couldn't let herself falter now. "Excuse me," she replied, hoping to quell the rising tide of trepidation. But she knew better than to sound defensive. Instead, she opted for an air of authority, channeling the energy that had galvanized her classmates just moments before. Pulling in a breath, she stepped forward. "We're just talking about the chalk girl. You know, the one who went missing? We're trying to figure out where she is. The man's expression shifted, a flicker of something, was it concern or irritation, crossing his face. You kids shouldn't be dabbling in things you don't understand, he cautioned, his tone more insistent now. There's no game to be played here. Lily's blood ran colder. Did he know more than he was letting on? Instinct doused her previous confidence, igniting a fierce determination. The details had been scarce, but now, they felt precariously close to unraveling before her. Recognizing that the man was antagonistic and perhaps more than he appeared, she braced herself. Maybe I should understand it, then, she pressed, her voice steady but tinged with the veiled challenge simmering beneath. You seem to know something. As if testing her mettle, his gaze locked onto hers, challenging her resolve. Her classmates fell silent, sensing the tension. She could feel their eyes darting back and forth, waiting. They needed a leader now, not just someone with vague ideas. His lips curled into a wry smile. Kids like you have a knack for making trouble. Do you really think you can dig into this? Leave it to the adults, all right? It was a deflection, a warning cloaked as concern. But she sensed a deeper indignation growing inside her, igniting a want for clarity amidst the fog of fear. You can dismiss me all you want, but I'm not going to stop asking questions. Not when her life might be at stake. The moment hung unresolved, but she had crossed into a different realm. She wasn't just defending her inquiry, she was guarding her nascent new identity. She turned slightly, searching the faces of her peers. They reflected uncertainty, but behind it glimmered a flicker of solidarity. Let us go, she said suddenly, breaking the stare down. She felt the power of her words clashing against the danger that loomed. As she began to walk away, her decision solidified in her mind. She would not let this man nor anyone else intimidate her into silence. Their footsteps echoed distantly as they retreated from the man whose gaze felt glued to their backs. The energy shifted once more, a seed of curiosity intertwined with determination was taking root among her classmates. It was a small victory, but a cathartic one. Can you believe that guy? Clara muttered as they moved away. What's his deal? No idea, Lily replied, deep in thought. She could feel the adrenaline coursing through her veins, clarity blooming amidst the uncertainty. Each step resonated with the dawning realization that she was embarking on something much more significant than she thought. This wasn't just a focus on the chalk girl, it was about her unearthing the truths buried under the surface of their lives. But what if that man knew more about the case? What if he was connected in ways that went beyond just an angry adult? Curiosity flickered, igniting a strategic impulse. She would need information, and soon. There was power in understanding, it was time to take action. As they reached the edge of the park, Lily felt a renewed sense of purpose. She gathered her friends once more. We need to track down information. We should go talk to the parents, Mr. Thompson, anyone who might know anything. But before she could elaborate, a faint cry caught her attention. Beyond the trees, a shadow moved, a flickering glimpse of something familiar. Wait, did you see that? She pointed, adrenaline sharpening her senses. What had she just stumbled upon? The chase was about to take a turn she hadn't anticipated, and she could feel the thrill of discovery churning in her stomach. But as she turned to investigate, thoughts of the man's warning returned, wrapping around her like a dark cloud. They were threading into something potentially dangerous. Would she find the answers she sought, or were they concealed beneath layers of intimidation, waiting to make her doubt her quest? That remained to be seen. Suddenly becoming an adversary could have consequences she had yet to comprehend. With urgency, she beckoned her friends to follow. They might unearth something important. Little did she know, her determination would soon lead her down a path of revelations that would test her conviction even further. As Lily led the charge toward the shadow, her heart raced with every hurried breath. Her friends flanked her, the air thick with anticipation, as they navigated the dense underbrush. Every rustle reminded her of how close danger felt, yet each step forward reinforced the sense of purpose she had ignited in herself. The shadow slipped behind a tree, but Lily wasn't about to lose her resolve. She had to know. "Come on," she urged, pushing through the foliage. They soon emerged into a small clearing, just in time to see the fleeting figure, a young girl, possibly no older than 8, standing frozen, eyes wide with fright. The resemblance to the chalk girl was uncanny. "Hey, it's all right," Lily said, lowering her voice and trying to project calmness that she didn't quite feel. "We're not going to hurt you." The girl stared, as if caught between the safety of hiding and the danger of revealing herself. Behind Lily, her friends exchanged nervous glances, uncertainty evident. This was nothing they had planned for, yet, this was the very heart of the inquiry Lily had initiated. "What's your name?" she asked gently, stepping closer. The girl was trembling, as if she knew more than she let on, an instinctive awareness that danced tantalizingly on the fringe of Lily's understanding. "Anna," the girl finally whispered, her voice barely audible. "Are you looking for her?" Lily's breath hitched. "Yes, we're looking for the chalk girl." "Do you know where she is?" Anna stepped backward defensively, her fear washing over her like a dark wave. "You shouldn't be asking about that," she said, glancing around as though anticipating an unseen presence lying in wait. Lily felt her heart plummet. Anna's response felt heavy with foreboding, and suddenly, each choice seemed coated in fear of the unknown, fear of confronting issues far darker than she ever imagined. She struggled, momentarily, between compassion for the frightened girl and the urgency of pursuing the truth. "Listen," Lily said, carefully choosing her words, "we want to help her. We all do. Please, if you know something I can't," Anna blurted out, panic rising in her tone. "I just can't. They'll hurt me if I say anything." That chilling phrase sent a cold rush through Lily, snapping her back into the urgency of the moment. It wasn't just about the chalk girl anymore, it was about this girl too, whose trembling presence was a testament to the fear that pulsed within their community. She could feel the weight of Anna's words pressing down on her, igniting an inner conflict. Was her quest for information worth risking the safety of someone who might already be in danger? But as Anna's eyes darted between Lily and her friends, it crystallized the situation in stark relief. This was no longer just an investigation. It was a moral responsibility. "We're not like that man," Lily assured, taking another small step forward. "We want to protect you. I promise you that." The girl hesitated, her eyes searching Lily's, conflicted. Perhaps she saw sincerity there, perhaps something deeper. Lily held her breath, forcing herself to remain still, even as her mind raced with strategies and possibilities for diving deeper into this labyrinthine mystery. After a long moment, Anna finally nodded, albeit reluctantly. "Okay, follow me." Lily's pulse quickened, but the step into the unknown felt monumental. She glanced back at her friends, their eager expressions mingling with concern, wondering if they were about to uncover a hidden truth, or draw unwelcome attention that would threaten their safety. As they followed Anna deeper into the woods, the sense of impending discovery clashed with the dawning realization of their position within the greater mystery. They weren't just hunting for answers, they were caught in a web where loyalty, safety, and courage intertwined. Would the answers they find bring resolution, or only lead them further into danger? The question hung thick in the air, electrifying their every step forward into the heart of uncertainty. Lily's mind raced as the branches clawed at her arms, contemplating the risks ahead. But in that swirling mix of fear and determination, she sensed that the true test was about more than just uncovering secrets. It was about standing tall against looming threats, however insurmountable they might seem. And as they traversed deeper, a chilling realization settled over her. The closer they got to the truth of the chalk girl, the more perilous their mission became. What awaited them at the end of this path? Would they uncover the truth, or would they just be part of another layer in the dangerous game surrounding Anna and the missing girl? Anxiety coiling within her, she realized she was not just a seeker of truth, she was now a defender against darkness. Anna led the way through the underbrush, her small frame weaving between the trees with a nervous energy that contrasted sharply with the dense silence of the woods. Each step taken illuminated the weight of her unspoken fears, while Lily trailed closely behind, a tangle of thoughts spinning in her mind. What had they stumbled into? How did a quest for justice turn into a protective mission for a frightened child? The woods felt alive, whispering secrets just out of reach, but Lily's determination burned fiercely. "Are you okay, Anna?" Lily asked softly, hoping her voice would reach the girl's fragile confidence. "I'm fine," Anna replied, though her voice wavered. "Just hurry." A steely resolve settled within Lily as she considered the burden Anna carried, knowledge wrapped in danger. Lily's heart beat in sync with the frantic rhythm of her thoughts. How could they help Anna without putting her in more danger? Each echoing beat seemed to amplify the urgency of their mission. As they pushed deeper into the shadows, they reached a small, hidden clearing encircled by towering trees. Here, Anna finally paused, her body tense as if expecting an inevitable confrontation. "This is where we stop," she said, her eyes darting about. "No one can see us here." Lily felt a chill creep down her spine. "What do you mean no one can see us?" "I mean if they see you, they'll know I talked." Anna's fear was palpable. Lily stepped forward, driven by an instinctual need to reassure the girl. "We're not here to hurt you. We want to help." But deeper questions churned within her. Who were they? What were they doing to convince Anna of this fear? "Why do you want to help?" Anna asked, her eyes narrowing in suspicion. "You don't know anything." Tension crackled in the air, forcing Lily to consider her intentions. "Because I can't ignore what's happening to others. I need to make a difference." Anna's brows knitted together, though perhaps a glimmer of understanding flickered behind her wide eyes. "A difference?" she echoed, almost skeptically. "Yes." The word fell from Lily's lips with newfound strength. "I need to make sure no one else has to feel this way. It's not right." Anna hesitated, caught between her instinct to shield herself and the possibility that Lily was different. "But it's dangerous," she murmured. "You don't know," and there it was, the crux of her burgeoning conflict. Lily had confidence in her resolve, but did she truly grasp the repercussions? Boundaries of courage warred within her. "Then show me," Lily challenged, stealing her inner voice. "Show me what's wrong. I want to help Anna. We can be strong together." Hand trembling, Anna pointed beyond the underbrush, where a faint path weaved through the trees. "If you want to help the chalk girl, follow me." Driven by unease yet ignited by purpose, they stepped cautiously onto the path Anna indicated. Every crunch of leaves resembled the chorus of doubt echoing in Lily's mind. Would following Anna plunge them into real danger? "Wait," Lily called, halting as Anna interpreted her caution as fear. "We need to be careful." "Not cautious," Anna snapped back, frustration spilling over. "You can't be scared now. Not when we're this close." Their eyes locked in a moment laden with intensity. Lily recognized the fierceness within Anna, a girl who had lived in fear, yet retained a spark of defiance. It was this that propelled Lily forward. How could she be a strong ally if she shied away in uncertainty? With a collective breath, they resumed their advance, but the atmosphere shifted as shadows loomed larger around them. Each rustle threatened to unravel their intentions, emboldening Lily's conviction that these were the moments that defined growth, not just action. Every step felt like a forge of resolve, reshaping the contours of who she was. As they pushed forward, Lily pondered how to navigate the increasing challenges ahead. Would she emerge a champion for Anna, or would the knowledge of her own fragility cloud her purpose? "Just a little bit farther," Anna whispered, her voice holding a mix of hope and fear. Then, just beyond a twisting vine, a flicker of white caught Lily's eye, an unmistakable piece of chalk art, brightening the shadowy world they orchestrated. The realization sent a bolt of apprehension through her. What lay beyond this vivid signifier? What truths would they uncover that could shatter the fragile peace of their world? With her heart thrumming against her ribs, Lily dared to ask, "What does this mean?" Anna's gaze was fixed on the artwork, intensity brewing in her expression. "It's a warning," she said, her voice slicing through the tension. "And you're not ready for what comes next." Suddenly, the air thickened with the weight of impending truths, promising the confrontation of fears that Lily had steeled herself to face. As they stood before the chalk drawing, the path forward laid bare, they were called to question not just the mysterious fate of the chalk girl, but the limits within themselves that had yet to be tested. As the fluorescent light flooded the naked walls of the small room, casting stark lines upon the faded paint, Lily felt the gravity of the situation tighten its hold around her. She stood before the massive board, covered in a collage of evidence she had painstakingly gathered. Glancing at the assortment of drawings, notes, and photographs, she recognized these representations of her journey, each piece forged in bravery and perseverance. Today marked the culmination of her dedication to uncovering the truth, not only for Mr. Thompson and the missing chalk girl but for herself. Her heart raced as she faced the police chief and the officers gathered around her, a sea of authority that could easily be both intimidating and validating. Presenting her findings had become more than just an investigative endeavor, it was a defining moment that revealed her transformation from a hesitant girl into a confident advocate for justice. "I believe the chalk girl is connected to a larger story," she began, her voice steady. The details dripped from her tongue like the truth of summer's rain, each word pronounced with conviction. "I have evidence that suggests Mr. Thompson's statue wasn't stolen for lack of value but to silence what he knows. He helped those around him because he valued community and kindness. We can't let fear cloud our judgment." The way the officers exchanged glances indicated they were listening. Every skeptical expression she had previously encountered melted into recognition. Suddenly, she could feel her voice weaving a rope of trust between them. The air around her shimmered with a newfound clarity. Growing stronger each moment, she saw the little girl she used to be dissolve into a vivid memory bound in her heart, a memory of courage birthed from love and loyalty. The chief leaned forward. "What else do you have for us?" His tone held genuine curiosity, and her pulse surged with triumph, urging her to step deeper into this moment. Months ago, Anna saw someone near the statue before it went missing. She observed a man lingering, someone I've theorized could be threatening both Mr. Thompson and the chalk girl. I believe if we connect these dots, we could recover the statue and uncover the truth. Picking up her drawings and pointing to the corresponding pieces of evidence, she illustrated her observations. Shifting positions, her fingers glided over the photographs of Anna's chalk designs, where imagery mingled with emotion laid out in vibrant colors. Anna didn't just see the man, she felt the fear as well as the urgency. It's a fear that stops children from expressing themselves freely. That's why I'm here. We can't let intimidation stifle our voices. We owe it to those who need a champion. A profound quiet swept through the room. Even though they were in the presence of authority, they recognized a potent bravery emanating from this little girl with a resolute heart. The chief nodded in acknowledgement. "Well then, Lily, we'll follow up on your claims. It appears we have more work to do than we initially thought." As they discussed further steps, the adrenaline coursed through her veins, emboldening her. Every word exchanged reinforced her growth, a quiet confidence nestled deep within. This wasn't a mere fantasy crafted in a child's heart, it was a testament to her drive, her newfound position fortified by knowledge and determination. After the debriefing, she stepped outside the police station, the sun cascading over her, warmth bathing her in its embrace. Max sat patiently waiting beside her. His tail wagged, and she felt an overwhelming sense of pride. They had achieved something monumental. In that moment, an internal shift solidified. She realized she wasn't just defending Mr. Thompson and bringing clarity to Anna's fractured world. Lily had discovered her voice amidst chaos, becoming an exemplar of resilience and empowerment. This wasn't just the end of an investigation, it marked the beginning of her journey, a clash between childhood naivete and the honest pursuit of truth. Reflecting back on how far she'd come, she couldn't help but smile. She had walked through fear, faced adversity, and emerged with the knowledge that her voice mattered. Today, she stood not just as a little girl but as a force to be reckoned with, accumulating skills that would serve her far beyond this chapter of her life. And with a firm grip on Max's collar, she whispered, "We did it, buddy. We might just changed everything." Their future was a canvas, waiting to be painted with newfound experiences, and as she marched into the world, her spirit lit with determination, she knew this was just the beginning. Now, I urge you to be a part of the next wave of amazing stories. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive emotional journeys we'll embark on together. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and show you care, because this is the moment to show your support. Comment your reactions and theories about Lily's victory and the mysteries ahead. And share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need this closure in their lives. Don't wait even one more second to spread the positivity.